What's up, guys? Blaine Duncan here from Halloween Lives, the podcast of Michael Myers, joined, as always, week after week by my brother, Austin. Welcome to episode number 39. We are officially 1 week post Halloween 45 Years of Terror. We were out there. We were doing all kinds of awesome stuff. And dude, was it freaking awesome. Welcome to episode number 39, the post H45 show. Let's get into it, dude. How you doing first off?
I'm still sort of on I'm not quite to, they talk about like post-concert depression. I'm not quite to post H45 depression. I'm still sort of coming down from the high of it, man. It was sort of just this like overwhelming, just Michael Myers vibe. Like I really can't think of a better way to kick off my favorite month of the year and your favorite month of the year as well. The Halloween vibes have legitimately never been stronger. I'm deep into this thing. And I think, maybe part of me thought I might be fried out of Michael Myers and Halloween after all this. Not at all, dude. I think it just lit a flame under my ass. And I'm just in a great mood, man. How are you doing? I haven't really talked to you since we got back.
Yeah, we really haven't talked to each other, seen each other now in 4 or 5 days since we've been back. I'm doing well. We had to come back on Sunday after the convention ended. We actually had to leave before the convention actually ended, but I had to come back here. I had to do some training for work for the next couple of weeks, so had to leave early. Unfortunately, if I'm sure you guys saw this by now, but John Carpenter showed up for a final panel session at 4:00 last Sunday. And unfortunately, Austin and I had to miss out on that because we had to catch a flight back to Minneapolis. So that was the one thing that we missed out on. But yeah, dude, I cannot even begin to tell you what an amazing weekend it was. I will say that this is going to be a little bit shorter episode than normally what we do, but we're going to be recapping H45 here tonight. And then also, Austin is currently working on our H45 recap video, sort of our vlog, if you will, from the trip. So you guys are going to get a double dose, not only in an H45 episode, but you're also going to get this vlog that you're going to see in the next few days. So you're going to get it, both different ways. But so this episode will be a little bit shorter. We apologize for that. Oh, and we should also mention before we get into H45, we are going to be doing our second live show a week from, it would be Friday. So if you're watching this during the premiere, but it's going to be October 13th. If you guys want to get in on that, it's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. If you guys want to get in on that, send us a message with your email address at halloween.lives.podcast to our Instagram. We will get you guys added to the list. We'll pull as many people in for the episode as possible. Last time we were able to get through everybody, and we're going to definitely try to do that again, but we're doing our next live episode 40. It's going to be live next Friday night. It's going to be badass. Wanted to mention that before we get too far into this episode. But yeah, dude, it was a wild weekend. When we left Minneapolis, we were actually leaving during a thunderstorm. Like I picked you up at, I think 4:30 in the morning, and it was like a lightning show, dude. It was crazy. We haven't had a whole lot of storms at all like this past summer. And we had a hell of a lightning show going on when we left Minneapolis, which was really cool. But we got out there, and that first day we went out and we checked out all the filming locations, which was so special, which was so cool. Had to immediately go to the Myers house. That was exactly the first place we beelined it. Once we checked into our hotel, we beelined it for the Myers house. And that in itself made the trip for me. I mean, if the trip had stopped there, they were like, hey guys, H45 is canceled. Whatever happened, the toilets are overflowing at the convention center and there's shit everywhere. You got to go home. I'd have been like, hey, I get it. I don't want to step in shit, but I did get to see the Myers house, and that is a win. What did you think of going to the Myers house, dude? That was sweet.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see more of it in our video that we'll be posting shortly, but it really is just sort of surreal because I think for me, anybody that's not around the California area that hasn't been able to get out there, I'm 26 years old now, and I've been watching this movie for 20 years at least. And it's been this house, this it's almost like when you go to like Washington DC or some sort of national monument, you know, and or you know, outside of the US, anything, if you go see the pyramids, it's like, oh, this is legitimately real. And you know, everything was right where it should be. Obviously it's painted a little bit different, but dude, like I saw right, I don't know about you, but like I didn't even notice the paint. It was like, that is the Myers house. Yeah, I think day one for us was really just about getting out there to the filming locations, and we actually went to the Myers house twice. We went out to the Myers house, looked at some other places that we'll talk about, and then went back at night because it was like, it's a different vibe at night, or it's got to be.
It is.
And boy, was it ever. Yeah, like it was really incredible. What was your favorite moment? Because I do have a favorite moment from that day of us going around all the different filming locations on
my favorite moment from day zero. I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. It was honestly just getting to the Myers house. And when we first got there, I don't remember if there were I think there was a couple other people there when we first got there, but then we got to hang out there and there was nobody else there for a long time. Like we legitimately probably spent like 2 to 3 hours there that very first day. And there was various periods of time that there was nobody else there with us. And I think that was cool just to kind of be in that moment with you. And you know, something that we love and we celebrate on a weekly basis together, to be able to have that moment to be like, dude, we're freaking here, bro. That was cool. But what's your favorite moment? Now that I made it all sentimental, what are you going to ruin it with?
No, mine is equally as sentimental. We, you know, I think at this point we had visited the Myers house, the Laurie Strode house, the Elrod scene from H2. We had gone to the 2007 remake house, and then eventually the Hedge. And not too far down from the Hedge is where they open the film, or at least the modern day part of the film, down the street looking at Haddonfield, or in this case South Pasadena. And on our way there, I was like, because you and I probably walked 10 miles that day,
right?
And we had been just kind of walking around, talking or whatever, but eventually I turned on the Laurie's theme on my phone while we walked. And I remember just being like, this is the coolest, like most Blaine and Austin thing we could possibly do. We're literally walking through Haddonfield, listening to Laurie's theme, in front of some of the shots from our favorite film. And I remember there were people that actually were walking by, and I looked at you, I was like, I'm not turning this off. Like, this is too cool. And the people that were walking by were also Halloween fans. So I was like, if they're upset about hearing Laurie's theme, you know, coming through my phone, then, you know, they're just not having the kind of moment we're having. And it was just that really for that day. And maybe even, I mean, there were some big parts of this trip, but that was a big moment for me. Just like the Halloween vibes had never been stronger, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, well, you bring up a great point, because that was a great moment. And for me, even, you know, and you touched on it, like we went to the Elrod house, which, you know, that alleyway where you know, Michael's walking at the beginning of H2. He's walking through that alleyway, and you come up to he's walking through the alleyway, and you see the sheriff's car pull up, and Loomis at the same time, and he's like, "Sheriff, I shot him 6 times." And you see Myers kind of duck in behind that garage. Like, that all looks exactly the same. And I did your recreation shot of that, and it turned out really cool, because it was just like, holy shit, this looks exactly how it looked in 1981 when this was filmed, or 1980. I don't know when exactly it was filmed, but when it came out in 1981, this is exactly what it looked like. So that was cool. Going to the Hedge was super cool. That was a lot of fun too, just standing in that exact spot. And for those of you who've never been there, it's funny, because as you're standing there, if you look down, so Michael, when he stands in that shot where he's kind of half covered by the hedge, if you look down, you can actually see it's bare dirt, where so many people have put their foot there that the grass doesn't even grow there because people have just their right foot has just rubbed that completely clean. And it's just sort of cool to see. There was a ton of people walking around that day. We saw part of Sean Clark's group walk by. They actually were out there when we were at that scene that you were talking about, kind of that opening, present day Haddonfield shot. Sean Clark had a huge group out there. The Horace Hallowed Grounds bus tour was out there walking around, and it was just amazing. And I think being just in that moment was so cool. And I look at that experience like that is something that even if we do get back to Pasadena someday, even if H50 happens, we go back out there and we do it all over again. There is something special about having that first moment where you are walking up to the house, and it's like, dude, we made it. Like, this is a house that we have, dreamt about and fantasized about and thought about so much. And I mean, we've got a freaking podcast that is, based off the kid who used to live in this house. So it was really, really cool to have that moment, that experience. And that for me personally was like the best part of that Friday. When we went back, we got to go back. We did a little bit of live streaming throughout the day on Friday. We went back at night, and that was really cool too. And there was there was a photo shoot being done. A very, very fortunate person. You got to go check him out on Instagram if you don't follow him right now. And I want to make sure I get it right. So you might have to correct me, Austin, because I don't want to screw this up. But I believe it's Michael Myers of IG. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So on Instagram at Michael Myers of IG, dude, we met him. First off, we got out there in the afternoon, and he's like, "Hey, Halloween lives," and we're like, "Damn, this is our first stop, and somebody's already calling us out." So that was super cool. But we got to talk to him. Super cool guy, and he was doing a photo shoot. He was given access to the Myers house to do a photo shoot. I'm sure you guys have seen. He's already posted some photos. If you've not seen them, check him out. But he was able to go in costume into the Myers house and do that photo shoot. And he's just a super cool dude. So make sure you give him some love. We're going to hopefully have him on the show sometime. And we talked about partnering up and doing some other stuff down the road too. That would be really fun and cool. But yeah, so we had to see the house not only at night, but then he was doing this photo shoot. And you could see into the house. I mean, we stood on the porch and we unfortunately didn't get to go in as much as we wanted to, but you could still look up the stairs. You could look to the back hallway and see the bathroom, and, we could go on and on, everybody knows what the Myers house looks like, but that was just such a fun and special experience for me. And that really kind of wrapped up, day one. We met up with another fan of the show out there, Brandon. He was out there. I don't remember what his Instagram handle is. I'm sorry, Brandon, if you're watching this, but he was a super cool dude. We got to meet up with him, and yeah, we just hung out at the Myers house for like 3 hours that day, and what a cool experience. It was a lot of fun. But then we moved on to Saturday convention day. Had a few little hiccups in the morning with the way things were set up. If I had one complaint about the entire thing, it was the way that they had people line up on the outside of the building, and they had to line up, but before they lined up, they had to go inside to get a wristband to come back outside to get in line. And we got in line, and then we stood in line for a little while, and they're like, "Oh, you don't have a wristband. You need to go around to the other side of the building," which is literally like a half a mile walk. So we walked our asses around the half side of the building, stood in line again, where we had to wait to get inside to get our wristband, where we then had to go back outside, walk our asses around a half a mile onto the other side of the building and get back in line, which that line had grown. The line was literally wrapped. I mean, I'm thinking about this. So it was wrapped around 1, 2, almost 3 full sides of this building, the general admission line to get in. And the VIP line was super long. That was my only complaint. It would have been awesome if you either A, didn't need a wristband, or B, you got the wristband in advance, or C, somebody was walking through checking tickets while you were in line and giving you wristbands, or how about D, somebody just stands at the end of the line and says, "Hey, are you guys in line for H45? You can't do that yet. You got to go over there and get yourself a wristband." Because that would have been nice to know before we stood in line for like 10 minutes or whatever it was. And then it was like, well, okay, now I have to go back in. So that was my only complaint. But Yeah, we immediately got in line, walked in, and that was where the fun began. And what was your favorite part about day two?
Yeah, so on that day, I would say, it was really, it started out very overwhelming, and I didn't know what to expect because you get in and there's a hallway, um, and that has probably 20 people you can get autographs and pictures with. I mean, like Tyler Main was out there, Brad Laree, Chris Durand were out there, Dag Farch. There were plenty of other people out there, that are huge names in this community of ours.
Right.
And I remember seeing the hallway and being like, oh damn, so it's smaller than I thought, but this is still pretty cool.
Right.
And then I was kind of like, well, I wonder where the merch is, things like that. And then eventually we saw the lines going into the actual main hall, and Jesus Christ, it was like that building never ended, man. It was a zigzag maze of all these different vendors, incredible cosplay out there. And then, you get to the far side of the building, and pretty soon these big dogs, Nick Castle, Dick Warlock, PJ Souls, Nancy Loomis, they're all out there in the back. And that allowed for massive lines from one side of the building to the other. I think that walk in was really what stands out when I think about that day, because it was just like, oh shit, not only are we not the only two people that care about this so much, but like we are part of like a massive community, because the building was packed. Fans were going wild. There was so much to do in that building. They had photo areas, different things set up.
Photo ops. Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it was just a incredible sort of like mind-blowing experience walking into that building. The days kind of blend together on who we all met each day. But obviously I believe we met Nick Castle day one, and that is, Nick Castle was halfway through a big old hot dog when we got to him.
He was. Well, and so let's talk about when we met Nick Castle, because that was definitely a highlight of that day for me as well. But so we got out of did we just get out of the Michael Myers panel?
Yeah. I didn't even mention there was a panel room with other, events going on throughout the 2 days.
Yeah. And so they had this panel, and there was like 8 or 9 different guys who'd played Michael Myers up on stage. It was super cool, really interesting to hear. We got out and we were like, okay, we need to go get Nick Castle's autograph. And we got out and we started walking around, and we were like, man, this is a really long line. I don't know who this is a line for, but it was like, oh, wait, who are you guys in line for? Nick Castle. Oh my God. And it was like literally putting on binoculars, and you couldn't even see his freaking table. Like, we were all the way back at the far wall. Dude, we stood in line for exactly 2 hours to meet Nick Castle. And when we got up to the table, the lady said, you were in front of me, and then I was behind you. The lady said, okay, after these two, meaning you and I, Nick is going to another panel, so you guys are going to have to wait until he's done. So we stood in line for 2 freaking hours and missed it by that much, or made it by that much, because she literally cut off the line after us and was like, you're going to have to wait. If we would have had to do that, we would have been in line for like 3 hours just to meet him. And I can't even, I just, that would have sucked so much. It would have been so bad, but it was well worth it. I should show off my mask here. I do have it sitting here. And I should actually talk about like all the different people that I got. And I'm not going to give you these in any particular order. I'm going to just go through and I'll read off who I got, and then I'll show you the mask. But Danielle Harris, PJ Souls, Chris Durand, Dick Warlock, Don Shanks, Nancy Loomis, Tommy Lee Wallace, Rick Rosenthal, Nick Castle, Sandy Johnson, Aaron Armstrong, Rowan Campbell, and that is it. But I mean, not that's it. I mean, I got a lot of effing autographs, and I'm very broke. But here is, sorry, I'm trying not to make too much noise here, so I apologize. I've got to stuff with plastic right now. So this is the Michael Myers mask that I got signed.
Yeah, I mean that was like a task for us. This whole weekend was like making sure that mask by the end of the trip, and luckily you had a little bit of early start on it with Crypticon,
right?
But God, man, it is just badass looking at it. It is. I mean, that's kind of like the dream, right? To have a mask like that, and it's got your name on it. You're not doing it for any sort of like.
No, I'm not selling this thing ever. No, it's got my name on it. Nobody would ever want it. It was the only. Well, I take that back. Did somebody else? No, nobody else. I thought maybe somebody else wrote my name on it, but nobody else did, which is cool. Like I talked about in last week's episode, James Jude Courtney signed it, and he's got a massive signature, and he wrote my name on it, which is fine. And he asked me if he wanted me to do it, and I said yeah. And then I realized like he took up a quarter of the mask with his signature, so I wouldn't have done that. But I do like that it says my name on it. I'm never planning on getting rid of it. But yeah, dude, it was a task, and you and I had to kind of divide and conquer at some points. Where I would have to get in line because, like Nancy Loomis, for instance, I got in line for Nancy Loomis, and I waited a long effing time. And then literally my luck ran out because what happened with Nick Castle happened again with me with Nancy Loomis, only this time I was the person that they cut off. And not only was she going to go do her photo shoot, but she was also going to take her lunch break. And I had already been in line at this point for like an hour trying to meet her. So that sucked. I ended up waiting in line for like an hour and 40 minutes for her. But well worth it. She was a sweetheart, as was PJ Souls, as was Danielle Harris. You guys are going to see all of these people in our, in the video that we're going to be uploading, kind of our H45 recap. But yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun. And let's just talk a minute about the fans of the podcast that we met, because we met so many awesome people that day. I mean, I literally, like, we talked about it. I bet we probably met 30 different people who are fans of the show, which is not a lot. I'm not saying that that's a lot, but that made us feel really good when people would, like, we'd just be walking around and somebody be like, Halloween lives. We'd be like, fuck yeah, it does. Halloween lives. Then we go, talk to whoever it was that, we were got to meet. And dude, I wanted to give a shout out to somebody, and I am so sorry that I cannot remember his name. I can't even remember his Instagram handle. I was trying to find it. The kid who came up to us several times, you gotta find it for me, because maybe you
yeah, I know what find it real quick.
We talked to several different fans of the show a couple different times, and there were just a couple that really stuck out to us, and I'll be honest with you, I'm really, really, really bad with names. It's like one of my biggest downfalls is I can meet you and forget your name 2 seconds later. And it's just, I've always been that way, and I'm really bad. It's not that I don't care. I'm just like in the moment, not really even listening in those first couple seconds of what's happening. So I apologize to those of you who I met and I don't remember your name. But there was one kid in particular who came up to us a couple different times. He brought his mom up to us. Are you looking up his name or trying to find his?
Yeah, I'm trying to find his Instagram so we can shout out that.
Yeah, and just
I got it here.
Oh, okay.
So it was Christopher Moreland, and I hope I'm saying your last name right, Christopher. But this kid was just the man, and we had talked like we got to shout this guy out. And you made our day, and it was really cool meeting you. And that goes for everybody that we met too. Like it really was humbling and like very cool. Just know that we made even the tiniest impact on the community, I think. And that like our words weren't falling on deaf ears,
Right.
It was really cool. And to put a face to a lot of the names that, we see on our Instagram and that we talk to frequently, like it was really, really badass. And I hope a lot of you are coming out for our Friday the 13th show, because I want to talk more with you guys. It was really cool, man.
We met a lot of different people, and Alex Estes, he was really cool. We chatted with him the night of the after party. The Shape of Amy, Darkness Reigns. We got to meet up with him out there as well. There were so many people that we got to meet who were fans of the show. And once again, greatly apologize that I do not remember everybody's names. But please know that the moment that we got to talk to you was a highlight for us in our trip. And we appreciate every single one of you who came up to us and said, hey, what's up? We like the podcast and just wanted to meet you guys. Took a lot of photos with some fans, which is really cool. We tried to share some of those along the way as well. But that to me, it's like, that was the cherry on the Sunday, getting to meet people who, like you said, like, even if we've had like the smallest little impact, like we are a drop in the bucket when it comes to this franchise. We know that, and we don't ever anticipate being anything more than a drop in the bucket. But even having those moments to interact with people who listen to our show, who watch our show, Trey was on our live show. We hit up with Trey, or met up with Trey a couple times. There was just so many people, and like I said, I apologize we can't remember everybody, but please know that we do appreciate the time that you took to come up to us and say hi, and it just meant a lot to us. But we had the whole day, the convention day. We were tired from walking. It was a freaking long ass day, standing around, standing in line, standing on concrete floors. But then we went to the after party, which was also really cool. And probably, I'm not going to lie, probably my favorite moment of the entire weekend was when I met Malik Akkad. And it was kind of funny because, like, dude, I don't even know how to describe this feeling. Okay. Like, this is going to sound really weird, but it's like, I'm at I'm going to use this analogy. Okay. And this is not going to work. And everybody's gonna be like, what the hell is this dude talking about?
Oh boy.
It's like, I'm at a bar and I see a girl that's really pretty. And I'm like, damn, that girl's pretty. I would really like to go talk to her. And then you're like, no, I'm not going to go talk to her. And by the way, Malik Akkad is the girl in this story, by the way. Okay. So yeah. I'm like, oh damn, there's Malik Akkad. Oh, dude, I really want to go. I just want to go. I want to go talk to him. I want to just go shake his hand, just go talk to him and tell him how much the podcast or the franchise means to me. And oh no, he would never go for a guy like me. She would never go for a guy like me, right? I'm gonna just nah. It's cool. I'll find somebody else to talk to. And then it's like Malik would walk by again, and it's the girl. She's going to the bathroom this time. You're like, oh, she's gonna walk by me. Oh, should I go? I should go say something. No, I'm not gonna go talk to her. I don't want to bug her. She looks like she's having a good time, and I don't want to, like, nah, it's cool. It's fine. It's fine. And then, dude, finally, we were getting ready to leave, and I mustered up the courage, and Malik was standing right there, and it was like, fuck it, I'm going and talking. I'm going and talking to this girl, this Malik Akkad guy. And I walked right up to him and I shook his hand, and he looks at me dead in the eye. He's like, you got a hell of a handshake. And I was like, yes, I do. And I'm like, dude, I just want you to know. I didn't call him dude. I was like, I just want you to know, how much this franchise means to me. And thank you so much for doing this, for putting this convention on. And he's like, absolutely, man. What's your name? And I said, Blaine. And he's like, nice to meet you, Blaine. It's really good to meet you. Thank you so much for coming out here. And I was like, no, dude, the pleasure, the honor is mine. And then I just said to Austin, like, dude, get our picture quick. And took this picture with Malik Akkad. We can throw it in right here so you guys can see it. It was, once again, probably the highlight of the trip for me. If I've got a weird grin on my face, it's probably because I was, equally happy to equally shitting myself, that I was literally shaking like royalties, Halloween franchise royalties hands, if that makes any sense. But I mustered up the courage and I went and talked to him. And hopefully that's not the last time that I ever talked to him, because he was a very nice dude. Once again, we appreciate the fact that Trankus and, Malik Akkad, as well as everybody else who was involved, put this thing on for the fans. And that's really what this was. This was for the fans. And dude, that moment for me was, I was like grinning ear to ear the whole night. And I kept saying to you, like, when we got back to the hotel, I was like, dude, that was freaking awesome, dude. I just wanted to meet Malik. Like, I wanted to meet everybody, but there was something special to me about meeting Malik Akkad. And I was like, I want to meet him. I want to meet him. And finally I was just like, I'm doing it. I'm going up to him. I'm going to, cause he was talking with somebody else. And I was just like, I was waiting like a cat waiting to like pounce on a mouse, just waiting for my moment. And I was like, and they parted ways, and I was like, I'm going in. And I went in and I did it. And that was freaking awesome.
There were a lot of moments on this trip that felt like fate. Like I ran into James Jude Courtney in the bathroom. We ran into a lot of people just like walking around those 2 days.
Right.
That was not a fate, but that was forced fate. That was like I am becoming
meant to be
in this situation.
Right.
It was really cool. And you know, he seemed like a nice guy. I mean, I was kind of off in the background holding the phone like, holy shit, that's Malika Cod.
You were recording your phone in the bathroom.
No.
That's what you were saying.
This is Malika Cod story, not James Jude Courtney. I thought about talking to James in the bathroom, and I was like, better not. There were actually 2 other fans in there that looked at me for some reason, and I was like, yeah, that's him. If you want to go talk to him while he's literally pissing, you can.
Right. Just make it totally awkward. You know, he'll never forget you because you made it really awkward in the bathroom at age 45.
I just remember thinking, I don't want Michael Myers to hate me. So
no. You don't want him doing to you what he did to the reporters, the podcasters in Halloween 2018. Like, you don't want him smashing the shit out of your face and like attacking you in a bathroom stall. That'd be bad news. You know he can do it. He'll break out your teeth.
He's killed podcasters in bathrooms before, and he will do it again. Correct.
He will do it again. Yeah, there's no stopping him. No, dude, that was really fun. Saturday night was cool. They had a little band action going on, and had some food, and it was just a lot of fun. But then we rolled into Sunday. Sunday was kind of our I'll call it like our catch-all day, if that makes sense, at least from my perspective, as far as like getting autographs. I was going Sunday strictly to like get those autographs that I was like, I had to go get. Now, obviously, if you go back and you listen to the podcast from last week, you heard me rattle off a whole bunch more names. Easier said than done when the dollar signs start racking up, and it's like, dude, I legitimately cannot take more money out of the ATM and go get more. So my hope is that the people that I didn't get, Tom Morga being one, Michael A. Lerner being another, there were a few others that I was hoping to get. Michelle Dawson. I mean, we did go talk to Michelle for a little while, but I'm hoping those are some people that I'll get an opportunity to meet at another convention down the road. Or hell, if H50 happens, I'll be taking this exact same mask out there and getting it signed and autographed too. But that was, Sunday was really the catch-all day for me to get those things that I needed. And then we unfortunately had to boogie at that point. After that was kind of all said and done, we missed out on John Carpenter, which really sucked. Did talk to a couple fans who were there and talked about, Malika Cod was up on stage, Tommy Lee Wallace was up on stage, Nick Castle was up on stage for a while. So sounded like he just kind of, said what he's always said about the series, and a little disappointing not to have the Scream Queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis, not there. We had heard some rumors Friday going into the show that she was going to be there. And then obviously those rumors turned out to be false. But it's kind of like, man, give the fans, even if she had just done what John Carpenter had done and shown up for this panel, like I would have been okay with that, because she's at least acknowledging the fact that, hey, you guys gave me something here, right? I don't want to say you owe us, because nobody owes anybody shit. No. But it would have been a really cool way to give back to the fans. I mean, people who are paying a shit ton of money, who've supported your career along the way after getting it, started with this franchise. So it was a little disappointing not to have Jamie there. But, who knows? I mean, there's always, we've all heard the stories that she is, not the biggest fan of horror movies. And in some cases, she's sort of hinted at the fact that she's tried to distance herself from this franchise in some cases, so that's always disappointing to hear. But it really was a little bit of a slap in the face, I think, to the fans, at least as far as I'm concerned. And I'm speaking just for myself. At least this fan, it was a slap in my face that she didn't even acknowledge it, not on Instagram. She didn't, like, even if she had done like a video, like, hey guys, I'm in Taiwan filming right now. Wish I could be there. But thank you so much for the support you've given this franchise and to me over the years. I thank you. That would have been cool too. Didn't get that. That was a little disappointing and disheartening. Yeah,
I got to agree. And you said, in the past, she's kind of hinted that she doesn't want to, or she wants to separate herself, Jamie Lee Curtis, from that Laurie Strode character. But I bet she cashed those last 3 fucking checks though. So I don't, it's whatever to me. It was disappointing, but I would say like walking away from it, disappointment wouldn't fall in my first 50 adjectives for this weekend.
No, not at all.
It was insane. Jamie Lee Curtis or not, that would have been, another cherry on top of like 50 cherries here. Right. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. And like you said, the weekend was fantastic. Our complaints that we have are really minor in nature. I mean, really, it was a great convention. Very well done, very well run, very well put together. And my God, I can only hope that H50 happens. There are unfortunately going to be some people who will definitely not be at H50. We already know that. Like, for instance, Dick Warlock, I guess he made that announcement that H45 was his last convention. So very happy that we got the opportunity to sit down and meet Dick Warlock. That was really cool. He was a super cool guy. I mean, dude. I would say the 2 nicest people I met, like celebrity wise, I'll give you my 2 nicest: Dick Warlock and Rowan Campbell.
Dude, I was hoping Rowan Campbell would be your number 2 because I completely agree. Rowan Campbell was like the guy, man. And he'd see us throughout the weekend because we told him on day 1, like, dude, we are Corey guys. Like we do this podcast and we talk about your character all the time. And he was like, you guys are Corey guys. Cool. Mm-hmm. And, he did the signature. We got our picture with him.
Yeah.
But then, you'd see him around and he'd kind of nod at us. It was
right. Yeah. We saw him on Sunday and he was kind of walking through the crowd. He must have been going back to his table from a photo shoot or something. And we were standing in line and he saw us and he did like that to us. And it was like, dude, Rowan Campbell, he just gave us like a nod. He probably did that to 78 other people walking through that line, but I don't give a shit. It made me feel good in the moment.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that was really cool. He was super nice. Brad Lurie, we ran into Brad. Brad was obviously out there. Uncle Brad Lurie was a character as always. But yeah, those, I would say like, yeah, Rowan Campbell and then Dick Warlock. Dick Warlock was just super cool. And the thing about Dick Warlock is for as long as his line was, and it wasn't much shorter than Nick Castle's, but for as long as his line was, he legitimately was taking time with every single person to make that moment special. And I don't know if he was doing that. I know obviously he was doing it for the fans, but maybe he was doing that a little bit for himself too, knowing that like, hey, this is sort of the end of the road for the convention years, and for him at least. And that was just, it was cool because we got his autograph and then we sat there and we kind of just chatted with him, and it was only for 30 seconds. But like, he put his arm up on my shoulder and he was just kind of like looking us in the eyes and talking to us. And, once again, I had a moment where I just told him like, dude, I cannot thank you enough for what you did for this franchise. Like, you don't have any idea. I mean, I'm sure he has some idea because he gets told it probably all the time, but like, this literally changed the course of our lives. Like, it really did. We are sitting here right now talking about a podcast, a weekly podcast, talking about the exact same subject every freaking week. And we love doing it because we love this franchise so much. And, quite honestly, he was a huge part of that, because if it weren't for Dick Warlock, we wouldn't have a sequel to, have this sequel that we know to the original 1978. So, I mean, it was just a great moment, and one that we will definitely never forget. The whole weekend was a weekend that we'll never forget. It was a trip of a lifetime, and just so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, you really said it. It's kind of the culmination of everything we've done, not only in the last 39 weeks, but just our fandom throughout our lives. And I really hope there is an H50, because like you said, it'll never be that first time again. But there's always going to be different. I mean, sounds like there's new Halloween movies or TV shows on the way.
Right. Yep.
There's going to be something else there at H50.
Something will happen. Just like from H35 to H40, we got 3 new movies between H35 and H40. I hope
H40 and God, H45.
I'm sorry. H40 and H45. We got 3 new movies between H40 and H45. dude, if we can get 3 more movies between H45 and H50, even a TV show, whatever it is, I will be so happy and so elated, and we'll obviously have new people out there to meet. But yeah, dude, it was a fun weekend. We're going to be putting up the video or vlog, if you will, of the entire weekend. Austin is finishing that up, and you guys will see that very, very soon. But yeah, that's this episode, man. We just wanted to recap H45, and it was a blast, dude. I'm glad we could do it.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who stopped and talked to us. And, thank you. And I don't know if anybody's listening. Tyler Main followed the podcast while we were out there.
Dude,
thanks for being, the Michael Myers actors, anybody who is part of these films. Thank you.
Right.
It was the highlight of my year. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That is going to wrap up this episode 39 of Halloween Lives, the podcast of Michael Myers. And guys, please, if you want to join in next week, hit us up, send us a DM at halloween.lives.podcast. Do it on Instagram. We're going to be live next Friday night. It's October 13th. It does not get any better. Come talk Halloween with your boys, and we'll do it for as long as we need to. We will make sure we get all the fans on that we possibly can. Anybody who's waiting, we'll make sure that you get in there because we want to talk to you guys. But yeah, dude, next week we're live. H40, Halloween Lives 40, I should say. Episode 40. It's going to be a badass time, and I can't wait to do it. But that's going to wrap up this episode of Halloween Lives. My name is Blaine Duncan, and that is my brother Austin. And we'll see you next week for live Halloween Lives 40. We'll see you then.